Hey everybody, I am standing today. I always start sitting, but today I'm raring to go. There's my southern roots, I think. Raring to go. Does that sound southern? Welcome to half and half class, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., April 17th. Can you believe how long we've been doing this? It's been a little more than a year. I can't remember when we started this class, but somewhere around this time last year. So thanks for being here. Free Scott and Collette yammering. You can get all the yammering you want for free. I think we should do a little strap work today. So I have my strap, which may be a bad decision because I also have a kitten who historically plays with the strap when I try to use it. So we'll see how that goes. But you might have a kitchen towel and you can use your kitten towel. Now, we could pick up the kitten to do strap work, but I don't think the kitten would like that. So let's pick up the strap. And you can see how well it's going right away. So fold your strap over, maybe once, maybe twice, if you want to keep it out of kitten reach. But it needs to be, you need to be able to hold it a little wider than shoulder distance. Don't get too narrow, but also you don't want to get too wide. So enough that my elbows can bend slightly and I get a little bit of a curve. And then set up with your feet facing forward in parallel, and let's just go right into it. So we're going to do the inhale and pull out, and exhale and release it. And inhale and pull out, and exhale and release. And inhale and pull. I think there was a fly. And exhale, release. And inhale, pull. And release. And three more. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and release. And inhale and hold the tension. Now, not too hard to grip in your wrists or in your hands, but keep that tautness in the strap. And then we go up and down. Inhale up and exhale, lower down. And inhale up just below the shoulders and lower. And inhale up. Let's bend your knees this time as you lower, just a little. And reach. You're not going to lean forward. You're just getting a little movement so you don't get too stiff in the legs. And one more time up and hold it. And release the tension. Little pull. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and release. Elbows go out, not down. Shoulders not here, but here. And that's a real interesting juxtaposition. Can I get my elbows out without lifting my shoulders up? Keeping them pretty wide. Two more. And one more time out and hold it. And then arms reaching up overhead. Inhale, up, and exhale, lower. My OCD is going to come on. Inhale up and exhale, lower down. And inhale, reaching, and exhale, lower. Now as my arms go overhead, my shoulders glide up a little, and then they glide back down. I can feel the collarbones floating up, the shoulder blades floating up and down, the armpits open up. Notice I didn't say I feel my neck grabbing really hard. So what's that relationship? When your shoulders come up, can you also keep your neck kind of fluid? Maybe work, but not like gripped. Keep it up there. Hold it there. Now, in that conversation, like if in having your arms overhead, you just immediately have all this gripping in your neck, sometimes the solution is not to be quite overhead, just a little more forward. And then my shoulders are still up a little, but they just don't feel so gripped. If it's possible to go here and feel like it's pretty easy, go there. So we have this pull out. We're going to take it. Strap goes behind you as your elbows bend and back up. And then in front of you, down to your collarbones and back up. And a little bit of that pull the whole time. And in front and up. And drop your head forward this time, just your head and upper body, upper kind of shoulders, and then lift as it goes in front. And inhale and exhale and reach and up, and one more each way. And back up, and then lower the strap down. Take your feet out a little bit so they're a little wider. Toes just pointing out, however far is comfortable. And then relax your grip on the strap. Just let it be loose for the moment, but keep it. And then let's just do down and up with the legs, bending your knees. And back up. And again, pelvis just going straight down and up, spine going straight down and up. Really easy, relaxed here. I think they call this your chest. And bend. And straighten and bend and hold it there. And then just take a look. How do your knees look? Sometimes they pull forward. A lot of gripping here. Knees over the toes. And as they pull back over the toes, they also feel like they spiral back, the rotator muscles in the hip, like you could spiral around. All the tension that's here, see if you could move it, like slide it back behind you. Puts a little more work like deep in the glute area, in the deeper glute muscles. Okay, you got it? Now pull your strap, reach it up, and then back to straight. Let's take that together. Bend to that position and straighten. And bending and straightening and bend and back up. Now we're going to lift one heel as we do it. So if you're mirroring me, left heel comes up, pushing with the ball of the foot, lower your heel down. And then right heel comes up. So it's interesting. I'm keeping my weight even between both feet. I'm not leaning all my weight over to one side. I still go down through the center. But on the one flat foot, the weight distributes through the whole foot and the heel. The other foot, the weight goes onto the ball of the foot. Just a little shift there. And reach. And back up. We're going to take your arms out to that shoulder distance again, shoulder height. It's really easy to go a little too high. Suddenly, all the muscles above my shoulders are working. A little lower. So I get it in my rib connection here. So now we do bow and arrow, kind of archer. Elbow goes back, and then it comes in. So as I bring my elbow back, I remember from 7th grade PE class that you're supposed to keep your elbow lifted. So I'm doing that. You can do that too. Isn't it crazy we learned archery in the 7th grade? I imagine the arrows couldn't have really hurt anything. And forward, and elbow back, and forward. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of that foot, lower body work. So as the right elbow goes back, the left knee is going to bend. I'm going to look over my left hand and then push back where I started. It's not a big knee bend, right? Because I'm not standing very wide. So just a little. I don't want my heel to lift, so I can't bend my knee super far. And bend. And reach. And bend. And reach. And bend. And reach. And bend. I feel like there's one more the other way. Maybe I started the opposite way and come down. Okay, so we're building to something. Can you tell? So we're going to use that lunge now. We can go a little wider even. We're going to use that lunge now to push back. So just kind of check out that movement there. Feet are a little wider. You bend that left knee, and then you push off the foot, right? We worked the foot already. Push off the foot so you come back together in this little V shape. Do it a few times with that foot. Bend and push, bend and push. And maybe you're noticing now the reach, the land, the push, the together. So you can play with the balance a little more. Balance, land, balance, together. Or maybe you're not quite there, right? And you're just kind of sliding the foot out and in. Let's do the other foot. Reaching into the bend, do a little push. You end up with the feet together. You go out, bend, whole foot, push, and back together. Out, land, push, together. Whole torso gets right over the standing leg. Okay, so there's a lot of coordination about to happen. So we're going to add that archer to it. So as I bend this way, I look the other way, and that's where I'm going to reach out to. Reach, and back to the balance. Look away, reach, back, and balance. And reach out, and in, and reach, and in. I always think about both feet, because I'm going to have to push back to that standing leg. I don't want to lose it. So I'm here, my right foot's forward, but that left foot needs to be solid so I can balance or fix it if I don't. And reach, and in, and reach, and stay in. And let's take an up, bend your knees, and up, bend your knees, and two more. And back to center. Do it again. Reach down and back to center. Reach down, back to center. We could add one more layer, which is to try to really balance with the foot at the knee. Reach and back in. So lots of variations. You might be doing something different than the person standing next to you, if you have a person standing next to you. And reach and up and reach and up and down. Lower the arms, turn the feet in, take your strap behind you. So elbows still a little soft, backs of the hands are forward, little pull out, and then reaching back behind you. Now hold it back there. Squeeze your blades together, separate your blades, lower back down. So feel the difference. Reach back, blades are still wide, pull them together. Now leave your hands where they are, widen your blades, and bring it back down. Reaching back, blades pull together. Easiest thing is to lower the hands as the blades go apart. Keep them there. And lower. And reach. Shoulder blades apart and lower. And one more like this. Reach back, together, apart, and lower. Now we're going to try it without the blade movement. So keeping the blades really still, just the arms. And back down. Working to hold your blades in place. And back down. It's a little different. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Three more. Reach. And lower. And reach. And lower. And reach. And lower. Okay. Let's take your strap. We're not done. So many strap exercises I can do. But we're going to take it away for the moment. And then just take your hands on your hips and take your knees a little bent, your elbows forward in this very sort of awkward position, right? It should feel a little awkward. My chest is really soft. My shoulders are forward. My elbows are forward. Now you could take your hands and like little fists go into your hip joint. And then in this position, this real upper back open position, just slightly send your head and neck forward so you feel your upper back open more. Your elbows might even come a little farther forward. Now, as you do it, don't stick your butt back, right? All you did was move your upper back and chest and elbows. Your pelvis maybe even feels like it goes a little forward. So you really round in your spine. And then come back up. So play with that movement. Knees bend. Use your belly. Pelvis doesn't move. Elbows. Upper back. Pelvis is straight up and down. And then back up. And forward, bend your knees. Upper back open. Head is barely down, right? Don't dive in. Just look down. Not going to dive into the pool. You're just going to look at your reflection. And back up. Okay. So I'm going to put the strap with it. I feel safe. The kitten is asleep. So I'm going to go back and take my long strap again. But we'll see. He might come running up and attack the strap. So I'm going to hold the strap so my palms are forward and a little wider than we've been doing. So we're going to start with the arms reaching back, the chest opening. We're going to add a lift. And my shoulder blades are still wide, but I'm letting the chest lift up. Now I'm going to go to that other position. So I bring my fists to my pelvis. I open the upper back and I let the head reach forward a little. Stretch the other way and then reach and open and bend and in. And chest opens and exhale. Upper back opens. Back of the neck opens. And inhale and exhale. And one more. And exhale. And coming up. And release that. Okay. No side bending. Let's take your feet wide again. Elbows in that kind of wide elbow position, hands a little wider than shoulders. Find your overhead position. So if it's a little forward, no problem. If it's all the way overhead, no problem. There's just no problems. Chest lifted up, it's a problem. So relax that so you stay integrated between your rib cage and your abdominals. And then directly to the side. Inhale, head and shoulders, little side bend. Back to center. Inhale, head and shoulders, and back to center. What can you find in that very minimal range? My cervical spine, my 7 cervical vertebrae, maybe like 4 or 5 of my thoracic vertebrae. Everything else is going to stay pretty still. How much movement is in those upper vertebrae? Okay, let's add a little more. Head, shoulders. Now the rest of my rib cage. Fan the left ribs open on that side. Back to center. Head, neck, shoulders, ribs. And reaching. Think of working through one joint at a time. A little more. Head, neck, shoulders, ribs, waist, and back to center. It gets harder each time to keep my lower body still. But I'm doing it. Okay, last one. Head, neck, shoulders, ribs, waist, hips. Back to center. Can you wait on the hips until you actually get there? A lot of times the hips is the first one we do. So can you isolate? Right at the very end, you let the hips slide over to the left. Not sink, not collapse, a little reach over. And all the way. A little controlled reach over. Not tightening your neck to do it. And last one. and lower your arms. Okay, then drop the strap off. Come to your top of your mat here. Bend your knees, and let's take a roll down. And once your hands reach the floor, let's come onto your hands and knees. Okay, so all that work connecting your upper body, feeling your spine go through its ranges of motion. Let's see what happens when you actually put a little weight on your hands. So palms open, fingers spread out as much as they will for you. Same work we just had with the strap, little soft elbow, wide back, open the upper back, open the chest. Let's check out the breathing here. All that opening in the spine and the ribs. Hopefully that helps us get a nice fluid, full breath. For most people in this position, the head is a little more down compared to the ribs. So take a moment, imagine the back of your head floats up to the ceiling. The back of the neck opens. Add to your exhale a feeling of lower ribs drawing together, lower abdominals coming on. Both hands stay down. Right leg is going to slide back. Toes are still on the floor, but your knee is off the floor. So I have a straight right leg, knee off, toes down. All this work in my hands, upper back, head, neck, abdominals, really steady as my right leg comes off the floor a little bit, and then toes tap down. Not arching your back, not tipping your pelvis, not collapsing in your shoulder blades. So many no's, but keeping all that really in place. One more. And bring it all back in. Let's go right to the other leg. Find your stability. Reach the left leg back, knee off, toes down. Take a moment. I lose my ribs most of the time. Check in with your ribs. And then little lift up. And reach. And exhale, lower. And inhale. And exhale, and one more. And lower, and both knees down. Now we're going to move back towards child's pose. As I do it, I'm going to think about a couple things I did with the strap. So when you were standing and you took your arms overhead with the strap, I was talking about the shoulders, right? Not pulling the chest up. So child's pose is going to put us in that same position, right? When I go back to child's pose, it's basically like taking my arms overhead. But instead of moving my arms, I moved my rib cage. So I'm going to think about the low ribs, the belly, that softening in the chest. I'm going to keep my hands right where they are instead of just relaxing them. I'm going to keep that feeling through the hands. And then just notice how your shoulder blades glide up your back a little bit. Your armpits open a little bit without tightening the neck. Now I actually have a little bit of room. I'm going to walk my hands a tiny bit farther. So you might adjust one way or the other in order to feel that you have the shoulder blades really gliding up, but not tensing. Then I'm going to come back to hands and knees. Reset everything. Just play with that. Notice how the shoulders respond as you reach back, how the chest and the ribs respond. And one more. Okay, one more thing in moving in and out of child's pose. And second thing is that position we worked on where you rounded your spine just a little. Remember when we were standing and you had your fists in your hips and you did the elbows forward? You had that upper spine a little rounded, upper back really open, maybe a little bit of rounding in the pelvis. Feel that position, find that position, add it to what you were doing with the shoulders so that as you go back, you keep a little bit of like nice open round feeling in the spine, not totally collapsed. That's a slightly different child's pose. Play with that a couple times. Long curve of the spine, opening the upper back, letting the shoulder blades move, the collarbones move. Probably don't go as far back. I don't go all the way down. One more. And then releasing everything, roll up to sitting. And we're ready for the tall one to come and take over. So I'm going to leave you on the floor because I don't know what he wants to do. He can tell you if he wants you to stand up.
Hello, everybody. Let's actually come on up on our feet, and we're going to review a little bit of stuff that you've done already, and then take that movement into a prone application. So kitten is still asleep, so it's safe to have a strap. So let's have the strap behind you like you did before. Remember that interface of your elbows softly bent and facing more outward, and that tends to round your shoulders forward, doesn't it? So see if you can find the interface of that internal arm rotation as you stand tall and shoulders a little bit back. Yeah, keeping that sense of length, ease in your neck. Give a little tug on the strap. And then keeping your torso lined up, especially your neck long, as you move the strap into the space behind you. So I'm feeling a little bit of tug in my shoulders. It's kind of tempting to jam into that tug. Let's very gently slide into it. And let's hold here for 3 deep breaths. And then releasing. All right, so now let's take that to the floor. Starting off on your belly. And for the time being, place the strap on your butt. That's a technical term. Place the strap on your butt. We're going to come to it a little bit later. And start off with your hands right next to your ribs. And then to help decompress your spine, stretch your toes back behind you. At the same time, reach the crown of your head forward. And a little bit deeper breathing. Exhales taking just a bit longer. And inhales just a bit deeper. So with that sense of lengthening your spine, toes back, head forward. And slightly slower, deeper breathing. So keeping that sense of length in your spine as you reach back to catch the strap. And just like we did just a few moments ago in standing, give the strap a little bit of a tug. Chest open because shoulder blades slightly back. Arms inwardly spiraled like we did previously in standing. And then with the next exhale, lift the strap up toward the ceiling. Feel how your shoulders tend to round forward. So see if you can keep your chest open. Arms still spiraling internally. And 2 more breaths here. Maybe the strap even comes up a little bit higher toward the ceiling. And then releasing the strap down. Set it aside for the time being. Replace your hands by your armpits. Press up to hands and knees. And then back to yoga pose, head down dog. Let's take 3 of those slower, deeper breaths here. And then come on down to your knees. Let's work a little bit on building abdominal strength. So bring your forearms onto the floor. And then moving into an elbow plank. So heels, hips, shoulders, head lined up. Same slower, deeper breathing. Holding here for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come on down. Back to head down dog. 3 deep breaths here. And then all the way down to your belly. So just like we did before, first step is to create length. Toes back, head forward to decompress your lower back. Toes back, head forward to decompress your upper back between your shoulder blades. And toes back, head forward to decompress your neck, to create more space for the nerve roots. And then keeping that sense of length in your spine. With the next exhale, lift your head and upper chest a bit. 3 deep breaths here. And then come on down. Recharging the length of your spine. And now hip extension. With the next exhale, lift your straight legs up off the floor a bit. Same slower, deeper breathing. And come on down. A few breaths here. And now at the same time, upper body and lower extremities lifting up. Steady breathing, holding here for count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come on down. Pushing up to hands and knees. And then back to head down dog. 3 deep breaths here. And then come on down. Elbow plank. So same breathing, just like we did last time we were here, count of 5. 5, 4, long neck, 3, 2, 1, and come on down. What's next? Head down dog. How long? Continuing the pattern, 3 deep breaths. And then come on down. Let's put all these pieces together all at once. We'll take a few moments quietly for you to create that length, spinal decompression. And find your strap. And just like now you've done a few times, lightly tug on the strap. And as your arms rotate internally, see if you can keep your chest open. And keeping your chest open with the next exhale, lift your lower extremities, head and chest. And then if you want more challenge, lift your arms up. Holding, holding, still breathing. And then come on down. Set the strap aside. Press up to hands and knees. And then back to downward dog. And then exhale to gorilla. That's where the crown of your head reaches forward. Then inhale, fold. You've done this before. Let's pause here for a few breaths. Here, the weight of your head can facilitate that spine decompression. And then see if you can keep your spine long as you mobilize your spine and rolling up, 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 arms up, chin up, arms down. All right. So let's do a little work in mobilizing lower extremities. Let's start with a sumo squat. You've done some of this work already. Step your legs wide apart, turn them both out a bit. And then matching movement to breath. Exhale, bend your ankles, hips, and knees. Inhale, come on up. So you've already done a few of these, so let's just do a handful more. And then come on up. Turn both feet back to the front. And now turn your left foot in and your right foot out. And now we'll focus on your right leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. 2 more like that. Next time that front knee in the bent position, let's pause there. Yeah, with the next exhale, tip your hips a little bit. Place your hand on your knee. Other hand on your hip. And settle into the diagonal torso positioning. Now with this sense of this diagonal axis, take your left arm up, and then toward the floor, turn your head and neck. And then rise on up with the in-breath and turn back to the front. Second side, turn your right foot in and your left foot out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Two more. The next time that knee in the bent position, let's park there for a spell. With the next out breath, tip your hips. Hand to knee, hand to hip. And a sense for your torso in the diagonal, including your neck and head. The best you can maintaining that diagonal is you take the upper arm straight up. And then toward the floor, turn your head and neck. And then rise on up with the in-breath. Turn back to the front. And then step your feet together. Check in with your feet. Invite your feet to sink into your mat or the carpeting, whatever your floor may be. Let your feet sink in, just like bare feet in warm mud. Then from that rootedness, invite your pelvic crest to slightly lift up, doing so without tucking your tailbone. And let this little lift in the front of your pelvis slightly lift your sternum and your head. So taking up your full height, we'll take a few breaths here. All right. So in passing, Collette mentioned the tendency for the chest to push forward, not so good for your posture. So see if you can keep your lower ribs connected to your belly. Keep your ribs knit, which is going to be a really big challenge with the forthcoming movement. So keeping your ribs connected, keeping your ribs knit. With the inhale, sweep your arms up, let your chin float up too. Exhale, mobilize your spine to fold. Now, similar challenge forthcoming. Keep your ribs knit. Inhale, mobilize your spine into gorilla. Exhale, step back. Well, we've been here a few times. Let's do the same length of time here. 3 deep breaths. And then come on down and into a seated position. Let's start off with a cross-legged position. So take your 2 sitting bones, put your roots down, lift up through the crown of your head. So maintaining the integration of your torso. So often with the attempt to sit up tall, these lower ribs shove forward and there's a disconnection in the middle of the torso. Lower back and neck, neither place does well with that disconnect. So keeping your lower ribs one with your belly, maintaining that vital connection. As you lift your head, lightly draw your shoulders back. So all that great strap work. is really based on maintaining the vital connection of your abdomen and thorax. And we worked a bit on creating decompression, more space between your vertebral bodies, more space for your nerve roots. So let's put all this together as you twist to your right. Bring your left hand across, your right hand behind. And a few of those slower, deeper breaths. Back in toward the middle. So you've heard a lot of information already in our session. So let's take the next few moments quietly. Whatever you can remember, whether I said it or Collette said it, or it's maybe from another session, and apply those points right here, right now. And then twist to the other side. So this time it's going to be right hand comes across, left hand behind. And then back in toward the middle. All right. So you maybe noticed that I walked in and I had a blanket tucked under my arm. So I'm willing to bet that where you are right now, there's maybe a towel or a blanket or a pillow, maybe something that can serve as a pillow. Let that pillow or blanket or towel or whatever it may be support not only your head, but also your neck. Now, I know a lot of people are a little resistant to the use of this because there's a sense, well, wait a minute, I want to open up, and now I have my head a little bit more forward. The purpose of having your head a little bit more forward here is to let these lower ribs, which are so often really stressed and anxious, to let those lower ribs drop toward the floor. Not that you're using muscle to do so. Let those lower ribs relax into the influence of gravity and organically, effortlessly sink into the back of your body, sink toward the floor. Now, what you do with your hands is your choice. I kind of like to put my hands on my belly with these practices. Some people prefer their arms at their side. And just like with the arms, there are a number of different options. So too with the legs. You could keep your knees bent. You could lean your knees into each other. Or you could outstretch your legs. Whichever one is more comfortable and relaxing for you. And then if you feel comfortable doing so, close your eyes. So I talked a bit about letting your lower ribs relax into gravity. Quite often there's a tension that's pushing the lower ribs forward. So here's a chance to unwind or undo that tension. Letting your lower ribs naturally settle. Now perhaps you've already noticed as your lower ribs release, so too the neck quite often releases. Whatever is supporting your head, whether blanket, pillow, or towel, to further release your neck. More fully release the weight of your skull into the support. Now to summarize, whatever placement for your arms, whatever placement of your legs, to help release neck tension, invite your lower ribs to release. To relax into and toward the back of your body. As your neck relaxes, maybe you've already noticed a sense that your head is resting heavier into the support. And to whatever extent you may or may not be feeling this or experiencing this, we'll take the last few moments here quietly. All right. If you closed your eyes, now reopen your eyes. And then as you feel ready, come up to sitting. All right. How's that practice? Those ever, you're always welcome to type into the chat or email us directly. We have a few events we're really excited about forthcoming. One is that we could really use your help, and we're super committed to keeping these online programs going. And we're also looking at what does the next chapter look like as things start to gradually reopen as we come into the warmer months. We're looking to get your feedback and what do you want? What do you need? And so Collette has put the link into the chat. If you haven't already filled out this survey, we would super appreciate if you filled out this survey to help us figure out what the next chapter looks like. And in filling out the survey, you're registered for a free session with one of our great instructional staff at Pilates on Harrison. And so a chance for you to deepen the work by working one-on-one with one of our instructors. In addition, coming up on April 24th, I'll be doing a live webinar on preventing dementia. And that may seem kind of far-fetched, but there's some credible scientists out there who are saying that up to 95% of age-related cognitive decline in dementia is preventable. And I'm going to go through a 5-step approach for preventing dementia. That's coming up on April 24th. Then the following week, I'm going to be doing another free webinar, and it's about the program that I run called Mindful Cardio. And it's about the integration of mindfulness practice and all the incredible benefits of cardio, in doing so with this focus on mindfulness and alignment and all the fundamentals that we practice at Pilates on Harrison. That's going to be on May 1st. So thank you so much. Glad we could do this together. Any comments, questions showing up in the chat? Looks like it's kind of quiet. Let's do this again really soon.